Okay, testing 1, 2. This is the extraordinary council meeting of Blayney Shire Council to be held on the 18th of December 2024 and commence at 10 a.m. Ordinary meeting of Blayney Shire Council on Wednesday the 18th of December with the time being 10 a.m. This council meeting is being live streamed and recorded. By speaking at the council meeting, you agree to being live streamed and recorded. Please ensure that if and when you speak at this council meeting that you ensure you are to others and use appropriate language at all times. Blayney Shire Council accepts no liability for any defamatory or offensive remarks or gestures made during the course of this council meeting. A recording will also be made and published on the council YouTube channel. General Manager, do we have any apologies for non-attendance?
Through Mr Mayor, we have an apology from Councillor Carl Hutchings, who's got work commitments today. And I just want to highlight, we've also got a note from Deputy Mayor Councillor Rebecca Scott. She may be late.
General Manager, so do I have a mover to accept the apology from Councillor Hutchings? I've got Councillor Dorset and Councillor Newstead. All in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. I assume we have no applications for audio-video link, so now to acknowledgement of country. And Blayney Shire Council acknowledges that this meeting is being held on the traditional lands of the Wiradjuri people and recognise the strength, resilience and capacity of Aboriginal people in this land. Council celebrates the diversity of Aboriginal people and their ongoing cultures and connections to the land and waters of the Blayney Shire. General Manager, any disclosures of interest?
Through Mr Mayor, I have two disclosures of interest. Councillor Rebecca Scott. The report title is DA 55/23 Hotel or Motel Accommodation, Item 1, page 5. The reason for the interest is Councillor Scott resides across the road from the proposed development. Secondly is that Rebecca Scott also notes that one of the stakeholders in the development is a major sponsor of the Blayney Senior Football Club, of which Councillor Scott is the treasurer. From Deputy Mayor Councillor Rebecca Scott, it is item 2, page 13, and is the building information certificate application for modular buildings and alterations. The reason for the interest is exactly the same as what I read out for item 1. So and both interests are non-pecuniary significant.
Thank you, General Manager. And I should have just read out that councillors are reminded of their oath or affirmation of office made under Section 233A of the Local Government Act and their obligations under the Council's Code of Conduct to disclose and appropriately manage conflicts of interest. Are there any other potential conflicts of interest amongst the councillors that are here? If not, we will move on to public forum. And General Manager, do we have any speakers this morning?
Through Mr Mayor, we have one, of which you have the details.
Thank you, General Manager. I invite David Walker to come to the stage. I'll just read a quick note here with regard to the speech, and then which will be for 5 minutes, but also allowing councillors to ask questions afterwards. But just like to be noted that each speaker will be allowed the 5 minutes to address the council. So in this case, David, 5 minutes. This time will be strictly enforced by myself as the chairperson. Speakers at public forums must not digress from the items on the agenda of the council meeting they have applied to address the council on. If a speaker digresses to irrelevant matters, the chairperson is to direct the speaker not to do so. A councillor, including the chairperson, may, through the chairperson, ask questions of a speaker following their address at the public forum. Questions put to the speaker must be direct, succinct, and without argument. Welcome, David. You've got 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As the Mayor said, my name is David Walker. I'm here to speak to you this morning in relation to item 1, which is the Blayney Motel development application. Obviously, we're a long time coming to this point, and we appreciate the council's patience and assistance in getting us to this point. This project has been, I guess, in conception for some time. It was originally conceived to respond to the demand for additional accommodation in both Blayney and the greater district, which is largely being driven by both tourist accommodation but also demand for construction worker accommodation associated with a number of large projects. So the project was conceived, Blayney was identified as a good opportunity or a good location to provide that service. And the Blayney Motel site was identified, being the former bowling club site, as being an ideal location for that. Its proximity in the centre of town and the fact that it had fallen into use and was being able to be brought back into reuse was seen as both very positive for the community and also a good commercial opportunity for the applicant. So, yeah, as I said, we've been coming to this point for a long time. There's been a lot of work that has gone into it in the sense of assessing all the relevant impacts, particularly around compliance with the building code. And we're very thankful for the time and the effort that the council staff have made in getting us to this point. We've reviewed the reports that there have been staff and the recommended conditions, and we're very supportive of the conclusions and the recommendations that have been made. We're very satisfied with the conditions that have been recommended, and we certainly don't have any concerns or worries that there will be any challenges in achieving the outcomes that have been sought there. We do note there's been 5 development application, or in relation I should say. 3 of those pleasingly are in support, so which I think reflects well that the community is generally supportive of the application, and 2 of those which relate primarily to, as I mentioned, concerns around building code compliance. And as I said, we're very confident that the development can achieve compliance with the building code. We're committed to working with council on future matters to demonstrate that compliance. And we're very, very satisfied and happy to be working with council staff in bringing this forward. And I guess finally, just recognising that the development has a lot of positive benefits to the community in terms of economic benefits. So there's a lot of flow-on benefits to the community through bringing people into town, and then the associated use of other services, accommodation, food, beverages, drinks, and all the other sorts of services that are in town. So, look, all in all, we think this is a really good application to be bringing to council. We're very pleased to have finally got to this point. As mentioned, I'm very happy to answer any questions that you may have, but I won't take too much more of your time, and thank you for the opportunity to speak this morning.
Thank you, David. So, councillors, do you have any questions of David Walker? No, we'll do. So thank you very much, David, for talking today. move into the agenda, and there are no mayoral minutes today for this meeting. So to the business paper, and item 1, DA 2023, hotel accommodation signage and change of use, 60. Has seconded that. Councillors, discussion, debate or questions to the relevant staff members? Councillor Goswich.
Yeah, the question I have is who will monitor and certify the modifications when done and in the future?
So through the GM to the Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Confirming in relation to the monitoring and of compliance with recommended conditions of consent, that will be a role for council to undertake. Council officers will do that. There are, for example, though, relevant provisions relating to the necessity to lodge a construction certificate. A good example of that is the fire upgrading works, where that will be linked to the issue of a construction certificate, either council or another accredited certifier, which will ensure that those works are complete in relation to that issue of that construction certificate. And also there is a requirement which is reflected in the conditions of consent particularly for that issue, that there is a mandatory requirement for annual ongoing fire safety statements as well. So that's an ongoing thing which is built in as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions from councillors with regard to this development application? Before we go to the vote, I'll just make a comment from the Chair. Appreciate the staff have put into this development application and the conditions of consent to make sure that it's right with all the regulations. So congratulate the staff, because it so with no further questions from the councillors, all those in favour, please raise your hand, as there is a division required in favour of this DA. And item number 2, which is the BIC Building Information Certificate application for modular buildings and building alterations, 62 Osmond Street, Blayney. There is a recommendation there. Do I have a mover of that recommendation? Councillor Goswich has moved that way. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Dorset has seconded that recommendation. Any discussion or questions with regard to this recommendation? No discussion or questions. All those in favour, and there is a division required again, please raise your hand. Against? Carried. Moving to item number 3, and I assume so item number 3, DA 2024/80, erection of an outbuilding carport, lot 2, section 11, DP 758767. That's for 48 Crouch Street, Neville. There is a recommendation in 2 parts. Do I have a mover for that way? Do I have a seconder? Councillor Goswich has seconded this recommendation. Any questions with regard to the item number 3, the recommendation? Questions? We'll call for a division again, so please raise your hand. Agreed unanimously by those in the chamber. Item number 4, DA 116-2023, and this is an animal boarding and training establishment, at 239 Carbine Road, Forest Reefs. There is a recommendation there, councillors. For that recommendation, Councillor Price-Jones has moved that way. Councillor Dorset has seconded this recommendation. Any discussion or debate or comment about this DA? Councillor Newstead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just quickly, having been out and visited the site, I'd just like to say what a good setup they had out there, and it's obvious that they, there's going to be a lot of care for the animals that are there, and yeah, I think it was really good. Thank you.
Any other comments from councillors or discussion or questions? I will just make the comment then from the chair. We also met with one of the people that, or a couple that had concerns, and it seems the conditions of consent meet those concerns. So again, from what I've read here in the report, that yeah, the concerns have broadly been addressed. So hopefully will lead to a good outcome. So although it'll be again a division required, if there's no further discussion, all those in favour, please raise your hands. Unanimous in the chamber, against 0, so carried. Item number 5, DA 131 22007 application to amend access points proposed lots 10 and 11 of approved subdivision 160 Forest Reefs Road, Millthorpe, and the original DA, I assume for the reason for 2007, that was the original DA that was put in for this development. There is a recommendation there, councillors. Do I have a mover for that recommendation? Councillor Newstead has moved that way. Councillor Dorset has seconded that recommendation. Do I have any discussion or questions or comments? Councillor Newstead.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just through you to the Director, the second entrance on the bend there, would you say that it's in the best position for them to enter there, or what's your opinion?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, that was an issue that did come up during the assessment process, which required the council staff had some questions, and also there were some issues raised through submissions to make sure that so we requested that a traffic engineer become involved through the applicant, who provided a safe site distance report to assess the access points in accordance with the appropriate standards. They'd indicated, and at that time there was an 80-kilometre zone, they'd indicated in relation to the lot, I suppose closest to the bend, that needed to be altered, that location, to a location that did comply and was safe, and that did occur with the submission of an amendment, and that is
Thank you.
Switch.
Just a question for the Director through the GM. The existing road which was approved in 2007, that doesn't change, does it? Like in the with us modifying this part of the consent?
The General Manager to the Director.
that is correct. No, it does not. It's just 2 access points which would have previously come up with that internal road, now come off directly off Forest Reefs Road.
Any other questions with relation to this matter? Then, if there is not, or 2 comments. One, with regard to the driveway, I hope whatever the outcome of the second driveway, so the western driveway of the 2 driveways on the bend, that it has the absolute maximum. By the sounds of it, the staff have already worked on that in doing a site inspection. That was, yeah, it was an optimum point. Otherwise, you would start to lose substantial site if you. Second one is a follow-on from Councillor Goswich's question. The neighbours that did have some concerns was with relation to headlights coming into their driveway. Given this is original DA, through the General Manager to the Director, as in is there any way that that can be changed, or is that fixed because of this original DA back in 2007?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. No, the council, as the consent authority, can't revisit that, what has already been approved in 2007, unless the applicant seeks to amend it. So we can't go back on that. No.
Thank you. Any vote? If not, there is a requirement for a division, so raise your hands. All those in favour of this DA? Against? Carried unanimously by those in the chamber. And we move on to item number 6, which erection of a single-storey detached dwelling, Lot 8 DP. A recommendation there in 2 parts. Do I have a mover, councillors? Councillor Newstead has moved that way. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Goswich, I think, got there first. So any discussion, questions about this particular DA from councillors? Question from the chair then. Given that we've allowed a number of these blocks to occur across the Shire under previous changes to our planning and zoning, do you expect that there may be a few more that may come down the track because of the boundary conditions or the topography of particular blocks within the Shire in these villages? So through the General Manager to the Director.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, we would anticipate these types of applications taking up the opportunity which has been afforded through the changes to the LEP. But what it does raise is that some of the requirements in our DCP might not necessarily be reflective of this type of lot and application, and this could once again occur. So it is something which we are looking at in the review of our DCP, which we're really getting into now. We've got I suppose the first drafts back, and our staff are going through that, but this will be one issue which we will be having a look at.
Thank you, Director. Any further questions or comments? If not, can I see a show of hands again? Those in favour of this item? Against? Carried unanimously by those in the chamber. That concludes the business paper for today's extraordinary council meeting of Blayney Shire Council. Before we close, I'd just like to wish our community all the best over this festive season. I hope that you have a joyous season and a safe one too. So please consider safety, because it's primary. We want to see each and every one of you back here in 2025. Our community, because we have a great community here. I'd also just like to wish all the councillors here in the chamber and all the staff both here in the chamber but also throughout our work sites, in the office and out on work sites, all the best over the festive season. Thank them for all their hard work during the last 12 months. It's been very much appreciated. We have achieved a lot for our community, and 2025 looks even. All the best wishes, and hopefully we see each and every one of you and our staff here at the council meeting. In 2025. So thank you, and safe travelling. That concludes.